Okay, everybody, I think we're just about ready to go and get started here with today's taping. We've got our new interview guest chair, the desk has a fresh coat of paint, and I think we're ready. Hey, Clyde, hold on a second. What is it, Dad? We're kind of busy here. Oh, this'll just take a second. I wanted to pitch you my new kazoo solo segment. You know, our show is pretty full for this week. Maybe we'll circle back to it another time, when we have some extra airtime. Oh, come on, please. I just wanted to promote my new album, Raymond Washington's Greatest Hits, Kazoo Favorites from Home. Show him the graphic, Lionel. Kazoo Favorites from Home? Yes, I've been a professional kazoo player since 1970. Hey, the Billy Joel album, Piano Man? Well, he stole the idea from me. My album came out first, Kazoo Man. Kazoo Man? Are you serious? Come on, I have a show to get started here. Oh, please, I just want to do one or two songs. I'm sure the audience will love it. Not going to happen, Dad, not today. Oh, come on, one of my albums even went double platinum. Kazoo Road. Show him that one, Lionel. Okay, I'm pretty sure that is just your face photoshopped over all of the Beatles' faces. All right, you know what? I'll see if there's 30 seconds at the end of the show that will hold for you during the closing credits. How's that sound? I can make that work. All right, let's keep moving. Roll the opening credits, please. Hey there, folks, and welcome back to NL Now on NTV. I am your host, as always, Mr. Clyde Washington, and I would like to thank you very much for tuning in to our show here today. Now, I know it's been a while since we've been on the air with a new episode. I hope you've been enjoying the reruns, though, catching up on some of our past favorite episodes of the show. But we are back today. We've got 2 episodes left in our 5th season, and we're very excited to be able to bring them to you with some great special guests. Today on the show, we have NTV's own weather presenter, the wonderful Ryan Harding will be joining us in just a little while in our interview chair. We'll be chatting with him all about his job here at NTV and how he got here, so stay tuned for that. I also wanted to take a minute now to talk a little bit about what we've been up to this summer. Myself and the rest of the cast of NL Now went on a little Newfoundland tour. We did 3 shows in Carbonear, Corner Brook, and Gander. We had such a great time seeing you all on the road, and we want to thank you very much if you did come to one of those live shows. Now, if you couldn't make it this summer, we hope to be heading back out on the road again soon, so stay tuned for news about more upcoming live shows. Now, also today, we're going to be doing something a little bit special. We are going to be paying tribute to our friend Mark Hiscock. Now, I'm sure many of you heard the news that Mark passed away earlier this year, and Mark was such a great friend to us here at NL Now, so we wanted to make sure we paid tribute to him in the best way we can. So later on in the show, our own Lawrence Moody is going to do a special song in memory of Mark. So you're not going to want to miss that either. Now, we're going to take a short commercial break here, but before we go to the break, here's a clip from Mark's appearance on our show a few years back alongside Marty the Moose.
Some were uneasy, there'll be trouble, they said, 'cause Ike Jones was noted to fight. And at the Café de France on the last trip he made, a Frenchman had threatened his life. The challenge to fight was issued that night while the cheap French liquor ran free. The French captain then warned the Marians men he would answer their challenge at sea. Next day the Marians set sail again, and so to the story relates. The French beam trawler weighed anchor as well, and followed close by in her wake.
Welcome back, folks, to NL Now here on NTV. Joining me here at our interview desk today is someone I'm sure that all the regular viewers of this channel will recognize. It's NTV's own Ryan Harding. Thank you so much for coming in today.
It's an absolute pleasure, Clyde. First time meeting you, actually.
Yes, it's great. So, Ryan, some people may not know that your history with NTV goes well beyond your recent jump into the weather department. Yep. So why don't you tell our viewers a little bit about yourself and your journey into this career?
Well, it started, you're right, a long time ago. I was about 18 years old, and I got a call in to do some work kind of behind the scenes. So my first job at NTV was graphics operator. And when you watch the news, when you see those names come up, and you see the graphics in the corner behind Tony Marie, Michael Connors, I was making those. Slowly, I guess, over a 2-year process there, got my hands on some cameras, so started to do some camera work. And then I decided to attempt the in front of the camera portion of that. So a little bit of that came at NTV when I was about 21, 22 years old. But then made the jump over to Winnipeg. Super fortunate enough to get into the CTV stream. And for those who recognize the name CTV, there's kind of one in every city. Yeah. So I was lucky enough to be able to really travel the country in that world. And took a couple breaks here or there to work in sport. Had a little stint in Ireland when COVID hit, popped over there. But finished off that at CTV Calgary on a morning show, which is really where I got to cut the teeth in the weather side of things. And then an opportunity came up to move home, and like many good Newfoundlanders and Labradorians before me, left Alberta and came on home. So happy to do so, too.
Yes, well, we're happy to have you back here with us on NTV. Now, what is it that made you interested in the weather position?
The weather position, well, so I was in Edmonton at the time with CTV Edmonton, and I dabbled in weather in Winnipeg, but mostly on a fill-in basis. And a job just came up in Calgary, and I was in probably year 5 in Edmonton. And nothing against Edmonton, lovely city. Some of my best friends still live there. But the opportunity to get into Calgary and close to the mountains. So every weekend I got to go into Banff. It was only about a half hour away. And that lifestyle that Calgary offered was interesting to me, but the position was weather. Yes. So I had dabbled in it in Winnipeg and knew the systems and had some of the lingo, some of the terms, but there was a bit of a steep learning curve. And where the ocean really affects the weather here, in Calgary it's the mountains. So I was lucky enough to come behind a gentleman called Kevin Stanfield, and boy, he's one of the best in the country at that. So I got a real jump into that side of things with him behind me every step of the way. And I did about 3 years in Calgary there where it was weather. You know, you do some courses online and you learn here or there. So to take that and put it in Newfoundland and Labrador, where it's not just a city. I was just forecasting for Calgary before. I mean, now you're Nain through Makovic down into Red Bay, St. Anthony, Pooch Cove, everywhere in between, right? So it was a bit of a learning curve, but it wasn't so much the interest in weather as an opportunity. But I'm so grateful for it because the interest has come with it. So now I find myself in my spare time not Googling weather terms, so to speak, but looking around the country, the continent, and really finding that appreciation and the interest in the weather and the science behind it. So it came from a humble start, but it got me.
Yes. Now, you just mentioned a little bit of it there with all the different names in the province that you, of course, go over and having to forecast for the entire province. So most people may or may not know that when you're delivering the forecast on TV, you're doing it in front of a green screen, right?
That's right.
So I imagine it must take a lot of practice to get the hang of choreographing all the movements, pointing at the right towns at the right time.
For sure, and if anyone doesn't know, a green screen is like looking in a mirror. So if you raise your left hand, your right hand's really going up. So I think early on in the career, there was a little bit of trust issues with myself even, oh, am I gonna point in the right way, kind of wait for a movement before you deliver. But it all comes with it, repetition, and I'll tell you, for anyone interested in kind of the behind the scenes, a morning show is very quick, fast-paced, and it rolls over every 10 minutes. So in the run of a morning between CTV Morning Live in Calgary, and I was picked up to do some for CTV National in the daytime, between those two positions, I was doing about 60 hits a day. So it's just the repetition of it, right? And again, it's taking that, and now you're right, moving in, and I had one where I said Jobs Cove instead of Job's Cove, but you only make that mistake once, So it is all these little unique places in the province, picking up not just the names, but how, whether it's the ocean, the topography, wind direction, how it affects fog coming in. It's been a lot of fun to pick up quickly.
Yes. Now, I know sometimes they let you out of the studio and into the community to do some weather hits and reporting on other events and stuff. So how do you enjoy that aspect of the job?
I love it. It's two different jobs, right? So if you come in the day and you know you're going to be on green screen, I call that day A. And depending on what the live is out in the community, that can be day B, C, or D. And you kind of adjust your schedule in the morning accordingly. But I've said it on air before, and I seriously mean it, not just blowing smoke. The best part of this job, and I think some of it comes from spending so much time away, man, we're special here. The kindness, the ability to strike up a conversation with a stranger. My favorite part of this job is getting out and having those conversations, meeting the people. So, whether it's the Canada Games when they're in town, or, Brad Gushu's in town with the curling. It doesn't obviously have to be sports. I like getting out and seeing it all, but it's the people while you're out that you just don't get the chance to connect with when you're stuck in the studio.
Well, Brian, that all sounds great. We've got a lot more to talk about here, but we're going to stop for a moment and pause for a commercial break. But we'll be right back here on NL Now with more from Ryan Harding after these messages. Welcome back to NL Now. I'm here once again with Ryan Harding. Now, Ryan, could you tell me what your favorite and least favorite parts of your job are?
Ooh, well, I kind of alluded to it earlier. It's meeting the people.
Yes.
But the job in itself, so while being out in the community is great, I'll focus on the actual weather presenting. I love dancing around the green screen. And I love getting to build that show and tell the story of the day using all the graphics. And finding fun, unique ways to, we get a lot of fog here. And while it's a dry summer we just had previously, we do get a lot of rain. So I really enjoy building a story and trying to keep what sometimes can be repetitive, although our weather does change frequently. Trying to find a unique way to tell that, but dancing around and getting to crack a few jokes in there as well. Yeah, I really like that. I like that a lot. Least favorite? I think getting a haircut every 2 weeks. Probably having to schedule that in, or slapping some makeup on. Pretty low maintenance guy. But if that's the least of the worries, then you got a pretty good gig.
Yes. Now, I wanted to take a second now to chat about the ongoing wildfire situation that's been happening here in our province and all around the country, really. Now, I know it must be hard to often have to deliver news that people might not want to hear in relation to the weather conditions, not just with the wildfires, but in the winter with blizzards and snowstorms and this sort. So maybe you could speak on that a little.
Yeah, I think it's all in the tone, and you learn that as you go too. So a calming, an understanding tone. But one thing that we do well at NTV is, we've talked about it already, it's getting out in the community, right?
Yeah.
So I say fortunate enough, I'm not sure if that's the right word while we're talking tone, but I got to get out to some of these communities in the evacuation centers, spend time with those who are displaced. And a lot of times in the news business, you're having conversations with people who are having some of the worst and toughest times that they're going to experience, right? So yeah, it's tricky. It's a tricky balance. And at the same time, we had the Canada Games in town, and talk about a juxtaposition of emotions, right? But I've said it on air on NTV before, and to pull back into, I guess, some of those other communities that I've spent some time in, I covered some floods in Manitoba. I've covered fire evacuations, whether it was, Fort McMurray, Jasper, throughout northern and southern Alberta. And having spent time there and having spent time here, it's different. The kindness is overwhelming. And when I've been at some of the evacuation sites, whether it was just outside Adams Cove or in Carbonear, it's striking how quick they are to make sure you have what you need, even though they're experiencing what they're experiencing, whether it's somewhere to edit, a quiet space for that, some food, some lunch. Everyone's so quick to make sure you have what you need. And so there was one hit in a first edition where I was kind of alluding to that. And I got kind of choked up. I got kind of emotional. I think some of that is having seen some other areas go through that. And while Canada's a great country, we pull together all the time. One place isn't better than the other. But seeing the difference in the relationships and the volunteer efforts and how quick they pop up, I think it's important to fit some of those stories in and into the tone as well. Now, come blizzard season, we call that stressful season.
Yes.
Because, man, that can change on a dime. Haven't been through one yet here. Looking forward to it.
Yes,
so we'll
it should
see.
be fun.
Yeah.
Now, NTV has also recently put out a weather app, if you want to tell us a little about that.
Yes, Weather Center app. It's great. You know, a lot of times in the show, I'll show a live radar, but we're only on air when we're on air.
Yes.
So that's at noon for Newsday, 5:30 first edition, 6 o'clock NTV Evening News Hour. And that app, boy, I'll tell you, it's accurate. And it's live and it's up to date. And if you live in a little specific community, let's say Grey River on the south coast, well, we've got a forecast for you there too.
Yeah.
So a lot of times, and that's one of the difficulties of the job, it's a big province. And you want to make sure everybody feels heard, feels represented, and feels informed. A lot of people here spend their time and they're living on the water. So there's intricacies that go into that. So that app, if you're looking for something outside of broadcast hours, it's great to have in your pocket.
Yes, it is. Now, Ryan, we're going to do something we like to do with all of our guests here on NL Now. It's a little game called Get to Know Me. So I'll ask you 5 questions, and you'll come back with the first answer that pops into your head.
All right, we'll turn on the brain-to-mouth filter here if we want the first answer.
Your favorite food?
Ooh, my mom's mac and cheese with a little bit of a bread crumble on top.
A dream vacation destination?
Japan.
Your favorite song?
Favorite song? 45 Years, Stan Rogers.
That's a good one. Your favorite thing to do in your spare time?
Favorite thing to do in my spare time? I like to kick the soccer ball around with my nephews.
And your favorite type of weather?
Oh, favorite type of... You can't go wrong with rain, drizzle, fog.
Well, Ryan, it's been so great having you here today. Thank you so much for coming in.
I appreciate you, Clyde. Keep it up on the up and up. You're doing great.
Yes, thank you very much. Well, folks at home, you can see Ryan here on NTV just about every day giving off the weather. And make sure you do download the NTV Weather Center app for a 24/7 coverage of the forecast here in the province. Please stay with us. We'll be right back after this short break with a very special musical performance. Don't miss it. Welcome back to the show. Joining us now with a rendition of Music and Friends in tribute of our friend, Mr. Mark Hiscock, please welcome NL Now's own Lawrence Moody. I've done a lot of living, and I found no matter where you go the whole world round, they always go together hand in hand. Where there's one, there'll be the other, music and friends. When blue skies turn to gray and hide the sun, when tired hands their daily work has done, nothing seems to turn things round again and make the old world right like music and friends. Music and friends, it's so good to bring together music and friends. Side by side, no one can break them when we take the time to make them. Nothing else can take the place of music and friends. Music and friends, it's so good to bring together